Hey there, Leo. Welcome to your reading for the week of October 6th. You have this Between Worlds card and this Unfinished Symphony card. This Between Worlds card is like a card of being in purgatory. You know, it can be like being in an in-between time in your life. Although it is one of my favorite cards in that deck. It can represent kind of stepping, obviously this flamingo is going from like black and white to color, so its life is getting more exciting. The Unfinished Symphony card, yeah, you have the Eight of Pentacles as well. So the Unfinished Symphony card is a card of like finishing things up and, completing something. The Eight of Pentacles is a card of seeing something through to the end as well. He is almost done with what he is working on. We'll talk about it in a second. And so I feel for a lot of you, you could be like finishing projects up or, finishing just anything up really in your life. And it would be a good week to do that for sure. We do have a Mercury retrograde next month in November. And so if there's anything you need to like close out or take care of or, anything like important, I would definitely get those things done now so that you don't have to deal with it in November when, the energy isn't going to be as good, right? And so if there is like something important that you can do now, I would. And that's definitely popping into my head. You have the Eight of Wands, the Seven of Cups, and the Eight of Pentacles. The Eight of Wands is like quick success or a quick conclusion. And so again, with that Unfinished Symphony card, you could be wrapping things up faster than you think if there's anything you're working on. And, again, if there is something that you need to complete, I would just do it. The other interesting thing is in your next row, you have this Power of Purpose card. The Eight of Wands, I'm pretty sure it's you that always gets this card with me, Leo. And I'm always saying to you that the Eight of Wands, you have to point in one direction. You have to like pick one thing and see it through to the end. And so the Power of Purpose card is like a target with an arrow. And, it's basically saying the same thing. You have to, pick one thing. You also have the Ace of Swords coming up. And the Ace of Swords is a laser-like focus. I would say not even just this week. I would say for like the rest of the year, really. I would like pick a focus in your life and, you'll probably be surprised with what you're able to accomplish if you make something, a dedicated focus. And that's what I would do with that card. Same thing with the Seven of Cups. I think the first row is, the whole entire reading is basically saying this, but, the first row definitely. Seven of Cups, he's dreaming of something that he wants, but he's thinking too much about like all the different things that could happen. And so, again, I think sometimes especially right now, we have Neptune will be retrograding into Pisces in the middle of this month, October, and it will, move back into Aries in January of next year. And so, between now and then, the problem with Neptune and Pisces is that it just creates too much noise, too much static. It's like we can see something as good, but we also see the bad side. And so then we never get started. The Seven of Cups is saying you need to like pick what you want in whatever it is that you're trying to accomplish here. And you just need to focus on that one outcome, right? Even though, yeah, sure, things can always happen in life. But, it's like sometimes we just need to say like, this is what I want and this is what I'm working towards and that's it, right? I feel that attitude would be very good for you at this time, Leo. You have the Eight of Pentacles. I'm getting like a few things here. Number one, I definitely feel that you could be very focused on, literally building something with the Eight of Pentacles, like improving your finances or, doing something to make more money. I do feel that would be good for you for sure. I feel that, Leo has a good opportunity to improve their finances at this time, probably by, finishing something up, especially if you have a project or a business in mind that you're working on. Making it your dedicated focus would be a good idea. Eight of Pentacles is a card of mastering your craft. So, it does take time. It's like, if you're working on something that's not doing as well as you want, Eight of Pentacles says, well, you have to keep going, right? It's like he's very close. He only has one more pentacle to complete there. So he's almost done, but he can't stop. He has to keep putting the work in with the Eight of Pentacles. And that's basically what I would do. I do think that I've said this to you basically all year. I think it's a good time for Leo to show off. Eight of Pentacles, he is putting his work on display here. And so people are going to see the work that he's doing. People are going to see the work that he has done. And, I definitely would put your work out in, like, don't be afraid of putting your work into the world is kind of like what the Eight of Pentacles is saying. With the Eight of Wands, you have the Three of Cups. Three of Cups can be like a celebration, happiness. It can be support from people around you as well. Again, Three Cups is like those concentrated connections, people who really lift you up. And those are the people that I would be focusing on. Seems to be a very fire sign energy right now where it's like maybe fire signs need support. But I don't know. The other thing I want to say here is I also feel like that some fire signs, it's like you could be, almost entering into new supportive situations, and you could be leaving some other ones behind, but like not in a bad way. It's like, I don't know, it's like if you're moving away from home, that's like the energy that I get here. I'm not saying you are doing this, I'm just using it as an example. When you move away from home, from your parents, it's like you're not really losing that support, but you're kind of having to support yourself. And maybe you meet friends who support you in a different way, right? It's kind of like you're finding a new level of support is what I feel like saying. With the Seven of Cups, you have the Sun, which is amazing. This is your card. The Sun is also like a spotlight in a reading. It says, you need to focus on your attention. I always say the Sun, the trick with the Sun is your attention. The Sun shines a light. It's like a spotlight in a reading. It shines a light on something important. And, I feel for a lot of you that you need to like shine a light on something that is important to you. And you need to make something your dedicated focus, and that's really what the reading is saying to me in general. When you show up as yourself, it kind of puts you in a position of power and strength as well, so very good card. With the Eight of Pentacles, you have the Six of Wands, which you have twice in this reading. Again, Eight of Pentacles, putting your work on display. Six of Wands would kind of be like getting credit for your work. He is, having an achievement. These people are celebrating his success, so a lot of you could be doing something to celebrate, or it's like you're doing something that could lead to a celebration in the future. It could lead to you being celebrated, or could lead to you standing out and getting attention. And again, that's like the work that I would be doing if I were a Leo is, positive attention work, whatever that means for you. It could mean standing out in business, in your career. It could mean, building something. It could be personal as well. It doesn't, this doesn't have to be like money related. It could be anything. So I would do that type of work. Next, in the area of what's coming in for you, you have this Power of Purpose card and this Rose's Kiss card. Yeah, the Rose's Kiss card is like having a specific skill or having something that makes you special. And maybe that's what you need to bring attention to is like your perspective in life or your special skills or whatever it is. The Power of Purpose card is, again, having that focus, having dedicated focus on one thing and, kind of seeing it through to the end, which seems to be, pretty much the main message of the reading. It's like the more on target you can be, the better. Again, I think what Leo needs to get rid of is the fluff, the static, the noise, the Seven of Cups. There are good things and bad things in those cups, but, it's like bad things can always happen, but I think you need to focus on more on the positive outcome, like things working out for you. Maybe you need to say that. Things are always working out for me, right? And that could, help. You have the Four of Pentacles, the King of Swords, and the Wheel of Fortune. Yeah, Four of Pentacles makes perfect sense because Four of Pentacles is holding on to the old story, and maybe that's what you need to release for things to improve. He's holding on to what he's always had, and he needs to like let go of those Four of Pentacles so he can maybe get something better. But, he's kind of like too used to living the same story. And maybe that's what needs to change. It's like maybe you're too used to things not working out or things not going your way. I feel like maybe you need to believe that things can't go your way or things can, happen in a positive direction for you. And that will probably lead to more success here. Yeah, definitely not a time to play it safe. Four Pentacles sometimes, like I'm not saying you have to take ridiculous risks here, Leo, but I would definitely take the risks of putting yourself out there, especially Pluto in your opposite sign. Again, the risk for you for the next 20 years is speaking up, speaking up and being wrong, sharing your opinions, working on something and taking the risk of people hating whatever you're working on, right? It's like those are the risks that Leo has to take. But if you take those risks, that's where the success will come from. You have the King of Swords. King of Swords is like knowledge and wisdom. Everybody, I'm pretty sure, in the month of October had the King of Swords. King of Swords, knowledge and wisdom. It just seems to be a good time to find a mentor. But this doesn't even have to be like a physical mentor. This could just be someone that you kind of, you don't want to put this person on a pedestal necessarily, but, I think it's good to model success, right? And maybe it would be a good time to find a person who you can model. It's like you don't have to copy them or anything. That's not what I'm saying, right? It's like, but if there are people you admire, it's like maybe starting to work on, following them or implementing the things they teach. I think that would be good for Leo. It's like I said, I think I said this in all the October readings, but it seems to be like the time of the mentor, where it's like if we have a mentor, then we can, kind of like model success and we can become more successful because of it. I also feel law and order here. Whenever we have the King of Swords and the Ace of Swords, the King of Swords can be law and order. The Ace of Swords can also be law and order. So if you're dealing with something legal or a legal situation, this could be you balancing that out. You have the Wheel of Fortune. The Wheel of Fortune can be a change in your fortunes. So you could be improving your fortunes or your financial situation, which would be great with the Wheel of Fortune. I kind of do feel it is financial for some reason. Again, I don't really consider Wheel of Fortune to be financial. The Wheel of Fortune is your whole entire life. It is your destiny. I always say it's your destiny how you see it. The Wheel of Fortune is your personal vision for your life. It's what you think you are going to accomplish. It's not necessarily what the universe has in store for you, right? But it's definitely a good thing to focus on is your personal vision for your life. Like I said, this whole entire reading, what would a perfect life look like for Leo? And, can you make that the apple of your eye? Can you make that the object of your attention, just the perfect life? And, are you ever going to accomplish that? Maybe not, but if you get close, you're probably not going to be disappointed. So, I would make sure your focus is going in that direction. I always say the Wheel of Fortune, it spins both ways. It spins backwards, it spins forwards. The trick with the Wheel of Fortune is to get it to spin forwards more than it spins backwards. And we can do this by, learning. It is a card of education. We can do this by doubling down on the good stuff and taking care of challenges right away. And so if we do those things, things will improve. With the Four of Pentacles, you have the Seven of Wands. Seven of Wands is a card of conviction. It says when you know that something is for you, it's for you. And so the more you believe in yourself, the better. The Seven of Wands is also a card that says that you might not feel ready. He has a shoe and a boot on his feet here. And, the story of the card is that he had to rush out of his home to defend his position at the top of the hill. And he might not feel ready, or he might not feel like he's capable or able to, do what he has to do. But really, he's as ready as he's going to be. So I feel like you need to realize, something you want to accomplish, it's like you're as ready as you're going to be. There will never be a perfect moment. So you might as well go now. With the King of Swords, you have the Page of Cups. Page of Cups could be love. I don't really feel this is a love reading. I think this reading is all about you, Leo. But of course, love is always available to us. So, there could be an admirer here or love coming in for you if you want it. The Page of Cups is also your dream. He has that fish in that cup there. So like I said, I think it would be a great time for you to think about what a perfect life would look like and to start working towards it. With the Wheel of Fortune, you have the Two of Pentacles. Both sides. It spins both ways, right? Two of Pentacles, work hard, play hard, but, it's also a card of spinning plates, which I also feel is kind of a little bit of a theme for Leo. It's maybe you have a lot going on. It's how can you push things 51% more, to the positive side of things? I don't think we have to be perfect. I think we just have to be 1% more to the right side of things, and things will improve. I would also definitely look at your responsibilities with the Two of Pentacles. It is spinning plates. It is trying to do too much at once. And maybe there are, normally I would say this on the Ten of Wands, but I kind of feel it on this card for you as well, Leo, that maybe there are things you're doing that just, are responsibilities that don't really belong to you. And I feel like getting rid of those things would be very important and would probably help you speed up, right? And so that's what I would focus on there. Next, in the area of messages from your future self, you have this card that says, do what you need to do. It says, it may be difficult, but now is the time. You have this listen card. It says, your inner child has something to say. Yes. So it's funny that card says it may be difficult, but now is the time, right? So with the Seven of Wands, there's definitely something you don't feel ready for. Or maybe you're feeling like maybe you're feeling like you're not ready, but you definitely are. So I feel like you need to pay attention to that for sure. You have the two cards. You have the two aces as well. You have the Ace of Cups, the Ace of Swords, the Page of Wands, and the Death card. The Ace of Swords is laser-like focus, like I said, so I think you need to make something your focus. The Ace of Cups could be love, but the Ace of Cups can also be your heart, and that's probably what you need to make your focus, is like, what is your heart telling you to do? And I've been saying this to you all year, Leo. I definitely feel this for you, Leo in particular, that it's like your head and your heart might not be, might not make sense. We have the Four of Pentacles. He has a pentacle above his heart here and one above his head, and so I think that the Four of Pentacles could also be this right here, head, heart, right? It's like you need to, maybe you need to do a little bit of heart over head instead of head over heart. Maybe the two things need to come into alignment as well, which I kind of feel. One of my favorite people of all time, Greg Braden, says, when your head and your heart become one, you can move mountains, right? And there are mountains right here on the Ace of Swords. So it's like I feel like your heart is telling you something that you're either not, you feel like you're not prepared for, or you feel like can't happen in your life. But if you would get these two things working together, you could make it happen. So, I think but I also feel it's pushing you more towards your heart, because we are in a time where it's like our heart might not really make sense right now. It might be saying like, oh, start this business or whatever. It's like, but the risk we all have to take right now, because Pluto is in Capricorn, now it's in Aquarius, is that we have to let go of establishment. You have the Death card here. The Death card represents the death of establishment. We'll talk about it in a second. But, I think it's saying there could be something that is established that feels secure, Four of Pentacles, and you have to let go of that to have something better, which doesn't make sense mentally, but maybe in your heart it makes sense, right? You have the Page of Wands. You have this card. It says your inner child has something to say. Page of Wands does not have a good reason for doing what he's doing in life. He follows his optimism. He follows his enthusiasm. But if someone were to ask him to be like, why are you not getting a job, and why are you, building this business? He would say, because it's exciting. And people would say like, okay, that's great, but you have to pay bills, right? It's like, that's head and heart, right? The head tells you have responsibilities, which is definitely true. It's not easy. But your heart is telling you that something else is exciting. And I feel this is encouraging you to move towards something that makes you feel optimistic, or to, it's like asking you to follow your optimism. I guess that's the best way I could put it. And you have the sun here as well, and the sun is very similar. The sun wants us to follow our optimism, our enthusiasm, wants us to do things that get exciting, and that's exactly what I would do with the Page of Wands. You have the Death card again. The Death card, the king is dead under the Death Rider, and so it represents the death of establishment. It kind of says even things we think will last forever, usually they don't. So, there's definitely something that you're letting go of here, Leo, kind of with that Four of Pentacles. And I feel like you are doing this for a brighter future, or for improvements or something better in your life. And that's definitely what I would focus on here. With the aces, you have the Ten of Cups. Yeah, Ten of Cups is like fortune after difficulty, and good things happening after a difficult period of time. Can also represent happy home, happy family. So, if you're looking for love, this also looks very good as well, Leo. Ten of Cups is like everything you want and desire. And, again, it's also like the ultimate dream. So, again, another message that's basically saying you need to picture your perfect life, and then you need to take the steps to bring it down into this reality. With the Page of Wands, you have the Four Swords. Yeah, he's like hoping and praying for something. There's a person here who's blessing another person in this window, and he's like hoping and praying for a blessing. It's like, I feel like you've asked for something, and now it's time to put it into practice. It's like whatever you're dreaming of. It's like the universe is like, yeah, you've asked for it. Now start taking the steps to get it, and that's what I would do. Here you go. With the Death card, you have the Page of Wands. Yeah, pretty simple message for sure. The fire signs have had very straightforward readings this week, I would say. It's just your reading is saying follow your optimism, or follow something that makes you feel optimistic or enthusiastic. That will probably be the best thing for you. Next, in the area of the good stuff, you have the Slow It Down card and this Releasing card. So again, I mean, I didn't even notice that, but the whole reading is saying you're releasing something. I don't think anything is slowing down. If anything, I think things are speeding up. You have the Eight of Wands, Two of Pentacles. These are in the Wheel of Fortune. These are cards of fast movement, kind of, and doing a lot. So things are probably speeding up. You have the Nine of Cups, the Six of Wands, and the Nine of Pentacles. Nine of Cups is like wish fulfillment, getting something you've been wishing for. Normally, I say with the Nine of Cups that we have to be in alignment with what we want, but in the good stuff, it's basically like the universe is saying you're already in alignment with what you want. That's how I felt on the Four of Swords. It's like the universe is like, yeah. The universe is like, okay, you already asked. Now it's time to step into the energy by taking action, right? And so I feel that, that's what this is saying. It's almost like the universe has its hand out, with the Ace of Swords and the Ace of Cups, and is like saying, all you have to do is grab it, right? So it's like there's something right in front of you. And yeah, it's like maybe it's scary to take action on like an idea or dream that you have. But once you take those steps, you're going to be in the energy and you will get what you wish for here, Leo. You have the Six of Wands. Six of Wands, again, is success and standing out, getting attention. At the beginning, we had the Eight of Pentacles and the Six of Wands. So, again, if you're doing any work that would require attention, this is saying you will definitely get the attention. It might not be this second, but, as we move forward into the future, it'll be worth it to work on whatever you're working on here. I also do feel some of you could be being celebrated for sure. The Six of Wands, again, he's being celebrated by these people around him for having a victory. So some of you could be about to be celebrated. You have the Nine of Pentacles. Nine of Pentacles is a card of independence, card of gratitude and luxury. So a lot of you, practicing gratitude would be a good idea. I thought you had the Five of Cups for some reason, but I might be making that up apparently. But I still feel that gratitude would be good energy for you. She also focuses on putting herself in a certain environment. So, she creates an environment of success, which improves her levels of success. And so anything you can do to create an environment of success around you would be extra, beneficial with the Nine of Pentacles. With the Nine of Cups, you have the King of Pentacles. King of Pentacles is a card of stability and financial stability. Card of like wealth building as well. I kind of said this at the beginning of the reading with the Eight of Pentacles, but I definitely feel that is a big focus for Leo is money, and it probably will continue for the next few years, where you are like finding ways to improve your finances or finding ways to make more money. And yeah, I think that would be really good for you. He has these grapes on his cloak here, and the grapes in the tarot represent having a specific skill. We also have the Nine of Pentacles. She has grapes behind her on the Nine of Pentacles. So if you are trying to improve your finances, which I think you all are, I would be focusing on the skills you have. Like you might already have a skill, whether you realize it or not, that could improve your finances. So I would be focusing on your skills. Yes, with the Six of Wands, you have the Queen of Wands. She has this sunflower right here. The sunflower points towards the sun. So again, she is following her enthusiasm. She is following things doing things that make her feel good and positive. So I would move in the direction of the sun with the sunflower here, or your optimism, like we already said. She's also willing to learn as she goes. So again, you can't know everything. And I do feel this reading is saying that. It's like saying you have to get started. It's like you're not going to know all the details. The problem with the Seven of Cups is it makes us worry about the details. And so I think that's like the fear you have to face. With the Nine of Pentacles, you have the Justice card. Yeah, we said Law and Order earlier, I'm pretty sure, right here. So I feel for a lot of you that there could be some sort of like Law and Order type thing that's going on in your life, or you could be, creating some sort of improvement here. You have this May card and this Elephant. It says, a long journey, either physical or mental, will leave you wiser at the end. Yeah, definitely like the middle of next year is kind of like a turning point. I would say more like March or April is a little bit of a turning point for everyone, like in a good way. Not that I think we're going to be like suffering for the next 6 months or so. I just feel, we will notice the change in the energy more. And so some of you could definitely be doing something between now and May. It might take some time, but, we'll be there before you know it. So you might as well. You have this shark. It says, take care or there will be loss of material wealth. Between now and the end of the year, I think we all, I say this all the time, that we should be paying attention to our finances. I don't think we should worry. I just think we shouldn't be wasting money on things we don't need. So I would just keep an eye on it. You have this mice card that says discord among family or friends. I'm pretty sure I always say this to you, Leo. Leo, I think, is going to have people who don't want you to change, and Is it really that big of a deal? No. I don't think really it's a problem necessarily, but I think you have to realize that you have to live your life. So, if there are things you're doing that people don't like, they can just deal with it. And that's it. So I wouldn't spend too much time worrying about it. You have this grapes card. Are you kidding? We talked all about the grapes on the King of Wands, or King of Cups, sorry, and the Nine of Pentacles. So, this card says time to go out and have fun, which I definitely feel would be good for you, Leo, but I also feel it would be a good time for you to, have fun, do fun things with this card. You have this dog barking. It says advice from a friend. Yeah, I would pay attention to the people, 3 cups, those people who really lift you up. It could even be a mentor or someone you look up to. That could be very helpful for you right now, Leo. So that looks really, really good, and I like it. So thank you for being here, and definitely enjoy your week.